Hello again, everyone. This is Samantha with the Colorado Housing Coalition here for another video update. With me today, I have our current president, TJ Weiss. TJ, before we dive into everything from last week, why don't you just give us a brief little introduction? What got you into the Colorado Housing Coalition?
Fine, thank you, Sam. Like she said, my name is TJ Weiss. I am the current president of the Colorado Housing Coalition. I initially wanted to get involved with the Colorado Housing Coalition because I had two businesses, one in Oregon and one in Colorado, and I was not as actively involved with the legislative side in Oregon as I was hoping to be here. So my first chance to get involved was a part of the legislative team, and that's what really kind of dialed in my interest.
Perfect. Yeah, you've been with us or with the organization for a couple years. We're definitely thrilled to have you on the team and running the whole show. So then for all of our members, last week was a really big week for us. We had two bills being heard in committee. The first one, I think the most important one, was House Bill 261106, tenant or eviction protections for tenants. That one was a piece of work that was coming down on us, and it was completely killed in committee. The bill sponsors just didn't have the support. We think it was a poorly written bill. It was assigned to the Judiciary Committee, excuse me. And there are some serious attorneys there that had serious questions. That plus the overall pressure from our membership, from the Apartment Association, from the Colorado Association of Realtors, among other coalition partners, in addition to the CHC. We were able to rally and get a bunch of pressure against the bill, and the bill sponsors heard us and they did go ahead and postpone indefinitely, lay over their bill for this year. So, huge win. Thank you so much to everyone who signed up to testify, who had been monitoring that, who reached out to your legislators about it. That was a very unexpected win for us this year. Definitely the biggest bill that we were monitoring, and we were able to kill it completely. I do expect it to come back in some form next year, but that's 2027's problem. And for 2026, we should definitely take the win and use it to propel us forward. The other bill we were monitoring last week was House Bill 261196. This was the credit reporting kind of bill. It was heard in committee a couple weeks ago. It was back last week before action only, is what our lobbyists said. Basically, it was postponed in the committee. The committee had too many questions. There were some unfinished amendments going on. So after testimony phase, they did lay it over and it came back. And that bill was completely rewritten. So it was a strike below amendment. It was rewritten in amendment. It removed all of the requirement for positive credit reporting or any credit reporting at all. It does say that if you are a covered landlord, which in this case is 5 or more rental units in your portfolio or that you manage, then you are required to disclose if you offer any sort of positive credit reporting. And if you do offer positive credit reporting, if there is a cost to the tenant. It does not require that you pass or that you eat that cost. You can pass direct cost onto the tenants. They can opt out at any time. There's a couple other little loopholes like that, but there is no mandate to require positive reporting. So with that amendment, the Colorado Housing Coalition did go neutral on the bill. We are in a monitor position now, where we will be monitoring it very closely as it works its way through the House and then into the Senate. We are not asking for any amendments at this time, but if something does come up that goes against the deal we cut, the kind of agreement that we made, we will push back against that very hard, because this right now it's a headache, but it's workable. And anything else is going to be something that the Colorado Housing Coalition would be opposed to. So stay tuned. Our committee is still monitoring everything that kind of comes, but at this point in time, our big bills are done, which is a very unusual place to be in, with 40 plus days left in the legislative session. So, TJ, where do we go from here? We've won this year. What's next?
Well, I don't know if we can quite say that, but I really like the optimism. I think the over the last 4 years that I believe you and I have been working together on these various bills, I don't know that we've had a bill go away in whatever form or whatever reason that has occurred. Some of the good things that you and your team have been doing have been working diligently within the um, with our legislators, both as stakeholders and sometimes as redlining bills and getting some things back to them for consideration. Additionally, I think the teamwork and the relationships that you guys have built with the legislators, with the lobbyists, has made a big difference. So, one thing I can push out to our members, if they're at all interested in uh, the process or making a difference within the legislation at the under the dome, is to definitely get in touch with your legislators, particularly off session. Like Sam said, we only have about 40 days left. There still could be something that comes up, but reaching out to them after session with any stakeholder meetings that you can get involved in, take your legislator to coffee. It makes a big difference. And so that's what we'd really like to encourage. And as always, none of this happens for free. So we do appreciate your membership. We appreciate your generosity. While the board, including both Sam and I, do volunteer our time for free, we do have costs that go along with the whole process. That includes our lobbyist, William Punch, as well as other administrative issues and donations that we need to make this all happen. So anything you can do, anything you consider, make it an investment in your business. We truly appreciate that.
Yep. And then I would add also, this is an election year. So we will be kind of monitoring that moving forward. If you are unsure of like, who do I reach out to? My legislator is, term limited out, or they're not running for reelection or something like that. We can definitely try and do a follow up after November to kind of introduce or wrap up the election cycle, what happened, who won. That will obviously play a big factor in determining what happens with our group next year. We know this year who we can talk to, who's reasonable, who we know we're not going to be able to work with, who will listen to us, those kind of things just from our existing legislators. But next year it's potentially a whole new team, a whole new squad up there on the Hill. And so if you haven't made those connections before, I would definitely encourage you in this off session, once know who will be your representative, who will be your senator, reach out to them like TJ said, just ask, can we meet for coffee? Let me introduce myself. They are ultimately responsible to you, answerable to you as a constituent. So it never hurts to just reach out and introduce yourself, make those connections. They're people with real issues. They're not the experts in our field. We are. So I would definitely encourage you, let them know if you have any questions, if you have constituents who come to you with concerns, like, let me know. I'm happy to be your advisor here. I'm happy to be the expert, whatever it is. So just the more you can do to build that relationship and to set yourself up in that kind of way, the more likely it is that they will come to you with those questions instead of coming to us all 6 months later with a bill, which is definitely not what we want. But a lot of the bills that we've been seeing come from their constituent stories, bad experiences that they've had as a tenant, similar situations like that. So the more we can give them answers and solutions that are not legislation, the better off we all are in the state.
Well, thanks, Sam. Is there anything else that you'd like to put out with regards to the CHC, where
Yes.
they can join, where they can donate?
Yes, absolutely. So let's start off by saying this year has been an abnormal year in all of my experience with Colorado landlord tenant legislation. And I've been in it for 6 years or so now. So enough to kind of have a good feeling or, an idea about what's going on. We have had the least number of bills that we've been monitoring, the most ability to affect those bills either through amendment, through testimony. We've had a wonderful group this year behind the scenes. We've had some really wonderful feedback from legislators who are not typically on our side with concerns about these bills that we've been seeing. So this year has just been, it's been very, very good. And I kind of jokingly said it, we won, but we still have 40 more days, 44 more days in the session. Anything can happen this last minute. So we are still all hands on deck monitoring that legislation for anything that may be slipped into the last minute. That being said, next year we expect it to be a whole different story. We did not see so far this year, knock on wood, we have not seen jury trial come back from last year. We were able to get a lot of these concerns about evictions kind of settled in the forms that we've seen them. That isn't to say that no one's going to try, to sneak a third eviction bill in there somewhere for us this year. Maybe they're thinking third time's the charm. So there's always things that can happen. It's really important that you do stay engaged, that our board and our organization has a way to stay engaged with the bigger picture. We have a lot of landlord tenant fatigue going on right now at the Capitol. So everyone's like, oh gosh, another bill. As much as you are all tired of dealing with legislation, and as much as the rest of us are celebrating having a quote unquote easy year this year with the lobbyist committee, we're not expecting that to continue forward. Like, it's so unusual. We're so thankful for it this year, but next year we expect to kind of be back down to, knuckling under and just dealing with what comes. So let's all celebrate the kind of break we've been getting this year. Let's be thankful for the wins that we have accomplished. And like, I don't want to try and write or under I don't want to be underwhelmed by them. They're absolutely overwhelming. Has been so positive, but we're just, like I said, we're not expecting that to be the case next year. So like TJ said, if you know a friend who's also in this industry who isn't yet a member, like, I would encourage you, send them to our website, coloradohousingcoalition.org. It's very long. We apologize. coloradohousingcoalition.org. There are a couple different membership levels. A one-time donation is fantastic. Anything you guys can do, but really just spread the word. That's how we grow. A lot of people are not represented in any other field or in any other group. We do try and be a voice for the small landlords, for the self-managing owners, for that single-family industry that makes up a large chunk, a large majority of the rental housing offered in Colorado. We're not the apartment association. We're not an association of realtors. We are our own group. And so it's really important that we do continue to grow our membership, that we continue to spread the word. We have an outsized impact on the Capitol at the Hill because of how involved our membership is. So anything you guys can do, spread the word, pass this video along to whoever, send a copy of our newsletter out. And then let's just stay engaged. Let's not let up any of that pressure as we move into 2027. And hopefully we'll have equally as much success next year as we are this year.
Oh, great. Thank you, Sam.
Yep. Thanks so much for coming on today, TJ. To our members, like I said, share the video. Otherwise, we will see you in the next one.